The door slammed shut with a thunderous crack, echoing through the house like a gunshot in the dead of night. I stood there, frozen in the kitchen, the pregnancy test still clutched in my trembling hand, 2 pink lines staring back at me like accusatory eyes. But it wasn't joy that flooded me. It was rage, pure and scalding, as my husband Mark stormed in. His face twisted into something unrecognizable. "You fucking whore," he spat, his voice low and venomous, laced with a hurt so deep it cut the air. His eyes, those warm brown eyes I'd fallen for 5 years ago, now burned with betrayal. "How long have you been screwing your stepbrother? And now this baby, it's his, isn't it?" Lisa told me everything. Lisa. His ex. The name hit me like a slap, hot and stinging. I hadn't seen her in years, not since she'd slithered out of our lives after their messy breakup. But here she was, a ghost resurrected to haunt us. My mind reeled, denial crashing against the absurdity of it all. My stepbrother, Jake. The awkward kid I'd grown up with after our parents' remarriage. The one who treated me like an annoying sibling and nothing more? We'd shared holidays, arguments over the TV remote, and zero chemistry. But Mark believed her. He believed her over me, his wife, the woman carrying his child. I dropped the test, the plastic clattering on the tile floor. "Mark, what the hell are you talking about?" My voice cracked, a mix of fury and desperation. Heartbreak clawed at my chest, making it hard to breathe. How could he think that? After everything, the late nights building our life together, the whispered promises in bed, the way he'd held me through my mother's funeral. Humiliation burned in my throat. I felt exposed, stripped bare under his glare. He paced the room, his footsteps heavy on the worn hardwood, the scent of his cologne, sandalwood and citrus, mixing with the faint aroma of the lasagna I'd just pulled from the oven, now cooling forgotten on the counter. "Don't lie to me, Emily." Lisa showed me the text. "Pictures. You and Jake at that cabin last summer. She said you've been planning this for months." His hands balled into fists, knuckles white, but he didn't raise them. No, Mark wasn't violent. He was the type to implode, to let resentment fester like a wound. Texts. Pictures. My brain scrambled to make sense of it. Last summer, Jake and I had gone to the family cabin to scatter our stepfather's ashes. A somber trip, nothing more. But Lisa. She'd always been jealous, a manipulator with a smile like honeyed poison. She'd dated Mark for 2 years before me, and when he left her, she'd vowed revenge in subtle ways, spreading rumors at his office, accidentally, bumping into us at events with barbed compliments. I dismissed her as pathetic, but now, this was war. She'd convinced him our baby wasn't his baby. The one we'd been trying for, the one that symbolized our future. I sank into a chair, the cool wood pressing against my thighs through my thin dress. Obsession flickered in my mind. Why her? Why now? But beneath it, guilt gnawed at me, irrational and unbidden. Had I been distant lately? Working late at the gallery? Exhausted from the pregnancy hormones I hadn't yet shared? No, that didn't justify this. Resentment boiled up, hot and unrelenting. "Show me," I demanded, my voice steadier now, laced with cold resolve. "Show me these so-called proofs." He pulled out his phone, fingers shaking as he scrolled. There they were, screenshots of messages purportedly from me to Jake. "Can't wait to see you alone." Mark suspects nothing. A photo of us at the cabin, arms around each other in a sibling hug, but cropped to look intimate. Forged. All of it. But Mark's eyes were clouded with doubt. He wanted to believe the worst, perhaps because Lisa had whispered just the right lies, preying on his insecurities from their past. "Emily, how could you?" His voice broke, and for a moment I saw the man I loved, the vulnerable one who'd confessed his fears of inadequacy after his father's abandonment. But then his face hardened. "I'm done. Pack your things. We're getting a paternity test, and if it's not mine..." He trailed off, the implication hanging like a noose. The room spun. Heartbreak twisted into something darker, a seed of vengeance planting itself in my soul. As he stormed upstairs, slamming another door, I sat there, staring at the cooling lasagna, its cheese congealing like my crumbling marriage. I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't cry, not yet. Instead, I picked up my phone, fingers hovering over Jake's number. But no, not him. Not yet. This was bigger. Lisa had destroyed my world with lies. I'd dismantle hers with truth. Or something sharper. That night, I lay in the guest room, the sheets cold and unfamiliar, my hand resting on my still flat belly. The house creaked around me, wind rattling the windows like restless spirits. Denial warred with reality. This couldn't be happening. But it was. Fantasies of justice flooded my mind. Confronting Lisa, exposing her manipulations, watching her face crumple as Mark saw the truth. But doubt crept in. What if he didn't believe me? What if this baby grew up without a father because of her poison? By morning, obsession had taken root. I called in sick to work, the gallery's bustling energy too much for my frayed nerves. Instead, I drove to the coffee shop where Lisa worked as a barista. Her temporary job after her modeling dreams fizzled. The place smelled of fresh grounds and cinnamon, chatter humming like bees. She was there behind the counter, her blonde hair pulled into a ponytail, makeup flawless as always. Our eyes met, and she smirked, a subtle curl of her lips that said, "I win." I ordered a latte, my voice calm, but inside rage simmered. "We need to talk," I said, sliding a 20 across the counter. She feigned innocence, wiping her hands on her apron. "About what, Emily? Mark already knows." The words ignited me. "You forged those texts." "Why? What did I ever do to you?" Her laugh was light, tinkling like broken glass. "You stole him. He was mine first. And now, with that baby. Well, let's just say I did him a favor. Jake's always had a thing for you. Everyone knows it." Lies. More lies. But her eyes gleamed with satisfaction, no remorse. Moral complexity hit me. Was she broken, lashing out from her own pain? Or just evil? Either way, she didn't care about the wreckage. I left without another word, the latte untouched in my car as I drove aimlessly through the rain-slicked streets. The wipers thumped rhythmically, mirroring my heartbeat. Planning began then, quiet, strategic. I'd dig into her past, find her skeletons. She had a history of scams, small ones from what Mark had mentioned once. Credit card fraud, fake identities. If I could prove she'd fabricated evidence. But fear whispered, what if this backfired? What if Mark sided with her forever? Guilt twisted. The baby deserved better than this chaos. Yet resentment won. I pulled over, rain drumming on the roof, and texted Jake. "Need your help. Lisa's at it again." His reply was swift. "What now? That bitch never quits." We met at a park, the air crisp with autumn leaves crunching underfoot. Jake, tall and lanky, hugged me awkwardly. Nothing romantic, just familial. "She sent Mark fakes," I explained, showing him the screenshots Mark had forwarded in a fit of anger. Jake's face darkened. "She's unhinged. Remember when she accused me of hitting on her at that party? All because I ignored her advances." A puzzle piece clicked. Lisa's motives ran deeper. Jealousy not just of me but of our family unit. She'd wanted Mark back, and destroying us was her path. As we plotted, gathering timestamps, alibis, tension built. Mark texted me. "Lawyer's office tomorrow. Don't fight this." Heartbreak surged anew. But so did resolve. This wasn't over. Days blurred into a haze of quiet calculation. I moved back to our house under truce, the air thick with unspoken accusations. Dinners were silent affairs, the clink of forks on plates echoing like judgments. Mark slept on the couch, his snores a reminder of our fracture. Inside I seethed. How dare he doubt me? But doubt plagued me too. Had our marriage been fragile all along? I hired a private investigator discreetly, using savings from my art sales. The man, grizzled and no-nonsense, met me in a dimly lit diner, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Lisa Harlan, he said, sliding a folder across the sticky table. Quite the record. Restraining order from an ex. Embezzlement charges dropped for lack of evidence. And get this, she's been hacking emails. Old habit from her tech days. Proof. Tangible. But as I pored over the documents in my car, moral conflict arose. Was I becoming like her, digging into lives for revenge? No, this was justice. Slow burn suspense mounted as I waited for the right moment. Then, the twist in waiting, Lisa called me. Meet me. Alone. Or I'll tell everyone about your affair. Social media, your job. The park at dusk, shadows lengthening like fingers. She arrived in a red coat, lips painted to match. What do you want? I asked, voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. Mark back. Divorce him quietly, and I'll recant. Manipulation at its finest. Her eyes held no guilt, only obsession. Or what? Countered. She smiled. Or the baby becomes tabloid fodder. Rage blinded me momentarily. But I nodded, feigning defeat. Inside, the plan solidified. I'd let her think she'd won, then strike. That night, back home, Mark confronted me again. Lisa says you admitted it. The lie hung heavy. She's playing you, I whispered, tears finally falling, real raw. He hesitated, doubt flickering. But he left the room, the door clicking shut softly this time. Humiliation peaked. In the mirror, I saw a woman transformed. Eyes hardened, resolve cold as steel. The paternity test appointment loomed like a storm cloud. The clinic's sterile waiting room smelling of antiseptic and anxiety. Mark sat rigid beside me, his knee bouncing, while I cradled my belly, now slightly rounded at 12 weeks. The doctor, a kind-faced woman with wire-rimmed glasses, explained the process. A simple blood draw, results in days. But as the needle pierced my skin, drawing crimson life, I thought not of the baby, but of Lisa. Her web of deceit would unravel soon. Or so I hoped. Back home, the silence stretched taut as a wire. Mark poured himself a whiskey, the amber liquid glinting under the kitchen lights. If it's not mine, he started, voice rough. It is, I snapped, anger flaring. But inside, obsession gnawed. What if the test wasn't enough? Lisa's lies had burrowed deep. Jake called that evening, his voice hushed over the phone. Found something. Lisa's been using a fake app to generate those texts. IP traces back to her apartment. Evidence. Concrete. The investigator had come through with logs, timestamps mismatched to reality. But doubt lingered. Would Mark believe data over emotion? I confronted him that night, folder in hand, the papers rustling like dry leaves. Look, I said, spreading them on the table. Screenshots of her hacks. Witness statements from her past victims. He scanned them, face paling. This can't be. It is. She's destroyed us for what? Jealousy. Revenge. Guilt washed over his features, layered and complex. Emily, I was stupid. Hurt from before. Lisa knew how to twist the knife. Dialogue revealed his vulnerability. He'd never fully healed from her betrayal years ago, when she'd cheated on him, irony bitter as bile. But my resentment didn't fade. He'd chosen to believe her, abandoning me in my most vulnerable moment. I'm sorry, he whispered, reaching for my hand. Pulled away. Sorry doesn't fix this. The next day, I met Lisa at her insistence. A cafe downtown, the clatter of cups and murmur of patrons a facade of normalcy. She sipped her tea smug. Divorce papers yet? No, I said calmly. But I have something for you. I slid the folder across. Her eyes widened as she flipped through. Her crimes laid bare, including fresh ones. Forging documents, harassment. Where did you get this? She hissed, voice low but trembling. Doesn't matter. Drop this or it goes to the police. And Mark. Her facade cracked, revealing the broken woman beneath. Abandoned by her family, failed careers, clinging to past loves like lifelines. You don't understand, she pleaded. He was my everything. Pity flickered, but resentment smothered it. You made your choice. She left in tears, but I knew it wasn't over. Suspense built as I waited for her retaliation. Came that night. A knock at the door, police. Ma'am, we have a report of assault. Lisa Harlan claims you threatened her. Lies again. Mark stood beside me, his support tentative. She's lying, he told them, showing the folder. The officers nodded, but warned of escalation. Fear gripped me. What if she dragged this out, tarnishing my name, endangering the baby? Inner conflict raged. Strike back harder, or let justice take its course. Moral grayness enveloped me. I'd become the hunter, but at what cost? Jake suggested a trap. Record her admitting it. We set it up. A reconciliation meeting at the cabin, the same one from the photos. The drive there was tense, autumn foliage blurring past, the air thick with wood smoke from distant fires. Lisa arrived wary, but greedy for closure. Hidden camera rolling, I confronted her. Why forge it all? She laughed bitterly. Because you don't deserve him. And Jake? Well, I added that for fun. Knew it'd sting. Mission. Clear as day. But as she spoke, hidden motives emerged. She'd been pregnant once with Mark's child but miscarried. Blamed him for leaving. This was her twisted justice. Understanding humanized her, but didn't forgive. It's over, I said. She lunged, rage contorting her face, but Jake burst in, phone recording. Got it. Police arrived soon after, tipped off anonymously. Lisa was arrested for fraud, harassment. Her past catching up. Back home, Mark held me, apologies flowing. I love you. The baby, our baby. Results confirmed his. But the twist came weeks later, as I rocked in the nursery, painting walls a soft blue. A letter arrived. Anonymous. Watch your back. Lisa had help. Inside. Photos of Mark and Lisa, recent, intimate. Betrayal anew. He'd met her during our rift, seeking closure. No affair but close enough. Heartbreak shattered me again. Revenge's cycle. I'd won against her, but lost trust in him. In the end I filed for divorce, keeping the baby. Our tie but not our chain. Poetic justice. Lisa in jail, Mark alone with regrets, me free though scarred. Yet in quiet moments, guilt lingered. Had my vengeance fueled the fire? Morally gray, yes. But necessary. The baby kicked, a reminder of hope amid ruins. Revenge tasted bittersweet, but survival. That was sweet enough.